Why do you have a deer in a headlight look?
I felt like I needed a face.
Wow.
Coming into this.
Oh, you need a face, all
I
right.
needed.
You
I debated on this one.
seriously
I debated.
need a face.
I debated on. But then I
You
was like,
and
no, that's not a
Gage
good
both
one.
make that same face.
I did this one. I was like, nah, not today. No. So I settled on the. What was it? Settled on that one.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay to start. I mean, hold on. Live comments because I didn't see them last time.
You didn't see any comments last time?
No, I did, but it kept going on and off, and I kept forgetting to turn it back on.
Oh.
Here we go.
I'm gonna need you to get it together.
What are we doing? Okay. We're good.
What are you doing?
We're good.
Over there. We're good. We're good, man.
We don't have to take our clothes off.
Stop.
To have a good
Stop
time.
it.
Oh no.
We're not gonna sing. Wait a minute. Is that that's 80s, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a goose?
Is that a freaking goose?
Did you guys hear that for real? It was a freaking goose flying over.
It's February.
I know. 8:00 at night in Ohio in February, and there was a goose that just
doesn't make any sense. Zeppelin, thanks for joining us. Stick around. If not, that's fine. Whatever. Do what you want.
Whatever. Do whatever it is you want.
It's your life, man. Do what you want. We're gonna talk about some spooky stuff. I don't care if you stick around. Stick around. Don't. Whatever.
Because we're gonna talk about it regardless. So
Tara, you're here. Thank you for joining us. You should hop on. Not mine though. You should go to the podcast page. Tara is.
Oh.
She knows better.
Hi, Cupcake.
She knows better.
You know better. Get over there, Missy.
Yeah. Go over to the podcast.
Be gone with you.
Because if you comment, then we're not gonna be able to see you in the live chat. For anybody else who's here, if you would like, hi Trista, thank you.
Trista, my sister.
For anyone who's here first, whatever platform you're listening to us on, if you're YouTube, stay to YouTube, we can see you. If you're on Facebook watching this, if you have the time, go ahead and hop over to the podcast page. If you're watching it from either her or my Facebook, go over to Supernatural Tendencies podcast, check it out from there, join the group. It makes seeing the comments a whole lot easier because they're actually condensed into the same spot into our live comment feed. If you comment, thank you. Yes. Thank you for doing what you should be doing already. It's fine.
Now I got that stupid song like stuck right in there. We don't have to take our
clothes on. Have a good time. Cindy, what are you doing on mine?
What?
Go to the podcast page.
What are you doing, Cindy?
You guys are amateurs today.
Wow.
I can't say much. We're like an hour late.
I know. But you know what? From now on, that's what I was just telling Alex. From now on, we're going to do this at 8:00 because, I mean, and it's not your fault. You know, you got the kids' stuff you got to go to.
No, I had work today.
And work and, you know, whatever else it is that you do.
Yeah, I think I told you when I got here.
Makes us late.
A short, what should have been a short day was actually made. Facebook user, can you see me? I don't know who you are, so you gotta.
I don't, and
it just says Facebook user.
No.
So go ahead and what do they got to do? Click the link or something.
They have to click the link to give StreamYard permission to show your comments. Hold on here. I was going to actually.
I do watch Hocus Pocus every night.
You're such a loser.
We went to Disney World. They actually we went there during Halloween and they played like 24 hours straight of Hocus Pocus. So I told the kids to find something to do because Dad was watching Hocus Pocus at Disney World.
You're so lame.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna put this in the comments. That way.
Are we ready to start this shindig, or do you want something to talk about beforehand?
Other than I apologize for my hair. Like I don't even know what's going on with it.
Oh, your stream's breaking up.
I just want to say I'm sorry.
Your stream's breaking up. Also, too. If we went back to the old way of doing this because I find that the audio on my side is much better and more reliable when we do it that way, even if it does have laggy video. So deal with my laggy video. Hopefully her video stays strong, and regardless, both of our voices will be good. We wanted to make sure that at least the audio portion of it, the most important part for us, stays clear and concise. The live videos are just an added bonus to try to get everybody involved. So we're going to stick with that formula until a better software comes out that does what we need it to do in its entirety. So
yeah.
All right. We ready to go?
We're ready to go.
Do it. And we're back while you're taking a drink.
Man, I'm still getting over this stupid devil virus.
Oh,
I don't even know. It could be coronavirus.
I guess
you don't even know what it could be.
I
It
guess
could be
that's the first
anything at
thing.
this point.
That's the first thing we want to address. We do apologize for not having a live, much less any kind of episode last week. We did have
Sick as a dog.
a rash of sickness. You were sick, and then Ember was sick. My daughter had influenza A, so she got a full.
Everybody's been sick. Are you
full
kidding
week off
me? It's
school.
like running rampant here through Findlay, Ohio. It's crazy.
Trista says everything looks and sounds good tonight. Thank you, Trista. We'll keep it up.
Sister.
Again, now that we're officially live, cough time.
I can't help it. Sickness.
Now that we're
Again.
officially live,
Hello.
I lost my train of thought, but I do want to get a woot woot from anybody I can because my beard is looking great on camera today. For those of you who
If we could just fix the rest of the face, it would be good.
I feel like I'm stoned. I'm really not. Like my eyes look stonish, but the Romero eyes, whenever we laugh, they tend to disappear. So
Is it all the medical marijuana floating around?
no, it's not. Not really.
Oh.
Megan Klofstein, I see that you're watching. Do me a huge favor, Miss Megan, and pop on over to our podcast page feed so we can see your comments if you want to comment. Thank you for joining us, which brings up
Hi, Jamie.
okay,
Jimmy
which brings me up
Cooper
the first thing tonight. We have a few shout outs that we want to do. First off, we have our call to action every week. If you invite, I think you upped it to 20 people.
Yeah.
20 people for a shout out? Man, you're getting Scrooge-ish around here.
Wow.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't think 20 was bad. Like, what's 20 people?
Oh my gosh.
20 people.
That's terrible.
Bam. Shablamo.
I'm going to mention you, Megan. Give me 1 second. We had 20 people invited by Miss Kathleen John Hibbard.
What? Thank you, Kathleen. You're awesome sauce.
If you happen to see Miss Hibbard, okay, I want you to go to your nearest foundry, and I want you to literally make her a medal.
Make her a medal.
I don't care what's on the medal,
She invited a ton of people.
As long as it's
She's
a medal
awesome.
of a shiny contrast. Okay. Yes, whoever the Facebook user is, you still do show up as a Facebook user.
Yeah.
So if you want to like type your name before every time you comment, if this isn't working for you, go ahead and we'll still shout you out.
Yeah.
Yes, for Miss Hibbard, go to your local foundry, found her a medal. Is that a verb? I just made it a verb. It's going to be a verb. Smelt her a medal of glittering and shimmering contrast for me. And let me know when you do that. Thank you, Miss Hibbard, for all the work you've done.
We sure appreciate that. Thank you.
Now move on to some more somber yet optimistic, hopefully, news. We have found that a local friend of ours here, her name is Alicia Garcia, was recently diagnosed with breast cancer.
Stage 3 breast cancer.
And knowing,
she is a mother with, I think, 3 or 4 little young ones. So I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So knowing how close breast cancer is to this podcast heart, with my mother being a cancer survivor, we wanted to push this as much as we can. If we actually push this week, if you feel the need to do so, we will definitely give you a shout out. And we're still trying to develop some type of incentive process for this, but they are accepting donations via. Is it like a?
They're having a benefit for her.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I think it's April 28th or 29th. Here in Findlay at the Moose Lodge, and they're going to have a taco bar, all kinds of like a bake sale and everything. And also they're going to have a banner there. So if you are a small business, a band, something like that, and you would donate $25 and send them your logo, they will put your logo on this banner.
Yeah.
And I mean, guys, anything that you can donate, even if it is $5, would just mean the world to this family.
Yep. And we will continue to put up the links to that. Even if you're not in the area, if you happen to have a couple bucks you want to throw their way, it would be definitely appreciated.
Needed and very much appreciated.
So we are with you, Alicia, and be strong.
You, sister.
Be strong.
Got this. We're behind you.
I'm not a doctor. I do deal a little bit in the medical field
because
I deliver medical equipment.
Well, yeah.
I deliver it, and the people that I see on a daily basis, I'll tell you from a non-doctor's point of view, solid 80% of it is your will not to give up.
Yep.
I mean, once you decide to give up, then you can count it out. 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So
Well, she's a fighter. She's a fighter. So
keep on fighting, Alicia. You'll be fine.
We got your back, girl. So, and if you would like to donate to that, you can find the link on our Facebook page, and it is pinned at the top of the page. So please, if you could donate and share that post, that would be much appreciated.
So we move on to what got me started here. Miss Megan Klopstein is actually on my Facebook live feed. Megan, if you could do me a favor, hop over to our podcast page. We're actually live feeding straight from there. We do this simultaneously across a bunch of different platforms. Unfortunately, with you watching and commenting under my personal one, we can't see you in the actual live feed. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on my phone and shout you out. So if you want to get involved with everybody else who's commenting and have that be visible, go over to our podcast page. Bringing up Miss Megan Klopstein, I have actually absolutely lived their podcast that she is doing with her friend Miss Nola down in Columbus, Ohio. I've binged absolutely every episode of them last week, called the Dead Magnolias podcast. Awesome. They're decently new. I think they started maybe around the same time as we did, last August or September maybe, and they've grown by leaps and bounds. We are in some of the same podcast promotion groups together on Facebook, and I think she asked for some feedback, so I listened to it, and I'm pretty particular sometimes, but more constructive than anything, because it's the same kind of criticism that I would prefer. So I sent him over some feedback, and without even me finishing the entirety of their catalog, they've grown by leaps and bounds. Hi, Oscar. He's already coming.
There he is.
So if you get the chance, they do some paranormal stuff, some true crime stuff. Hi there, Anne Marie Higgins. How you doing?
Hi, Anne Marie.
They do some true crime stuff, and they do it in kind of like a relaxed atmosphere. They kind of just sit around, chat it up, so it feels like you're just kind of hanging out with friends and talking. Yeah. So that's a refreshing thing for me to listen to, because I listen to a ton of podcasts, some scripted, some not, and they do a fantastic job. So if you happen to listen to podcasts and you are needing something to listen to, it's a great option. I also wanted to go give someone else a shout out to another podcast as well who does fantastic work. The Drink Drunk Dead podcast out of Erie, Pennsylvania. I think Miss Emily and Joel do some fantastic work too. They just get plastered and tell you stories that are scary. And hats off to Emily. I believe she goes to Pennsylvania. She goes to Penn State. And she drives back home to Erie, which I think is like a 3-hour drive from Penn State every week. So she, I believe she's listened to us. I think she likes it. She likes the, she told me she likes the, what was it? The Star Jelly episode, because we referenced The Blob, and that movie used to scare her as a kid. So
what? I loved that movie.
Yeah, I didn't exactly say I was gonna. I don't think maybe I did say I was gonna shout him out, but I'm gonna do it anyway, whether I said I was or not. So if you are bored and you need something to listen to during your day, check out both the Dead Magnolias podcast and the Drink Drunk Dead podcast. You could find them on most podcast platforms, and this is becoming a thing here, where I have a promotion for podcasts too. So maybe that's going to be a segment. I don't care. Yeah. Real quick, Tina Ochoa, thank you. And you brought up that the fact it was my birthday, and I was hoping to avoid that tonight. I would, if my birthday could pass and no one would know it, that'd be fantastic, which it's unfortunate Facebook asked you for a birthday, because I hate people knowing.
I know. Wait to get to be my age, then you'll hate it even more.
Megan asked that she's having some user errors. She's looking for. I just see the live post from you and in Christy's personal pages. Are we broadcasting from the actual podcast page, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Megan, if you go ahead and go to your search bar on Facebook and you search Supernatural Tendencies podcast, don't go to the group, right? It's on the actual business page.
It's on the business page. Yeah.
Go to the business page, the one that you would go to, for example, and it should be streaming from there. And then if you go in there, you have to give us permission to use StreamYard. StreamYard for your comments. Yeah. And then you'll show up with everybody else right now that we're kind of reading off. George, thanks for joining us if you're still here. And again, thank you, Tina, for my birthday wishes. I appreciate it. For my brother and his girlfriend, Katie, got me this great t-shirt that I love. And I don't know if you're going to see it. I'm going to stand up. You see the top part here? And this fits in with today's topic. I know it's been taking 15 minutes for us to get into the topic. But on the top it says drink beer. And on the bottom, it says, Hail Satan.
Which, if you are a fan of last podcast on the left, you'll totally get that.
Hail yourself.
Hail yourself. Did I tell you? Because I like that podcast, and so I'm in their group on Facebook. And when I had found out that there was no more cancer going on, I had put a podcast in there. Can I get a hail me? And I was really kind of like blown away by the amount of feedback that I got from that. I think it was like 4,000 people
Oh, they do an absolutely great
liked and
job.
responded and were like, you know, hell yeah, hail you.
Yeah.
It was really awesome. Like I was crying.
They do. If you haven't listened to last podcast on the left, I don't plug a lot of the bigger ones. I'll plug like the medium sized ones that I enjoy. But I kind of feel like last podcast, if you don't listen to last podcast on the left, they are like the highest echelon of awesomeness when it comes to paranormal and true crime podcasts out there. They were the reason why one of the reasons why I wanted to start a podcast. They are also the reason why it took so long for me to do it, because I felt that when you have people out there putting out content of that quality, why even try?
Yeah.
And so we finally got to the point where I was like, you know what? I just like talking about it. Cindy, I'm going to be bossy anyway because I feel like it and I'm tired. So it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Kelly, thank you for joining us. Tristy.
Kelly, I'll get with you later, sister.
Cindy, Trista, Mary, thank you for joining us. Let's get started. I believe we're good. Let's get started here. Today we have
rolling.
Bobby Mackey's Music World. Bobby Mackey's Music World.
I love Bobby Mackey's Music World.
I
am not even gonna like try to sugarcoat it. I freaking love it.
If you've never heard of Bobby Mackey's Music World,
you've been under a rock.
This is probably going to be a bit of a treat for you because
Jamie girl.
It's bye Jamie. Sorry, now I know it's you. If you've never heard of Bobby Mackey's Music World, this is probably going to be a treat for you because there's a lot of activity going on across the spectrum.
Yeah.
And for us, it's kind of special too because we're actually in northern Ohio, close to Toledo, and Bobby Mackey's is actually only like 10 miles south of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So it's not that far away. Maybe 3 hours. So if we really wanted to, we can go down there. But I'm lazy. I'm lazy.
But Daryl, you know the whole Bobby Mackey's thing, right?
Yeah.
So my husband and I went down there. Well, we originally went down to Cincinnati because they have like a Trader's World. I think that's where they had the Joe's Crab Shack. So
Kings Island.
Well, we don't go to Kings Island. So we're like, we'll just go down here, and spend the night, whatever. So I didn't realize that Bobby Mackey's was, just like 13, 15 miles down the road.
Yeah, not that far.
So when I found that out, I'm like, we have to go. Like, I have to get pictures. We have to go.
I'm sorry, but Trista said she has seen a ton of stuff on Booby Mackey's.
On Booby Mackey's.
Yep. So she knows she is a Booby Mackey expert.
I love it.
All right, so let's get this rolling.
Wait a minute, I wasn't done yet.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was not.
Continue.
So we drive there, right? And so we pull up, and I'm like, we have to go inside. We have to go inside. And Daryl's like, there's no way. Like, there's no way. He wasn't even trying. Like, his macho-ness was gone, and he would not. It turns out they were closed. I think they were doing something. I don't want to say remodeling, but they were doing something. But I got some badass pictures of the outside, and I can't stress enough, just sitting in your vehicle and looking at the building is unbelievably creepy. It is like Oscar just loves the mic.
Yeah.
He just loves the mic.
Yeah.
Oscar's a new man.
He got fixed this week.
Yeah, well, last week,
sorry.
So he is just like calm and cool and not screaming anymore.
He's now rubbing himself all over the boom stand. By the way, our names aren't showing up anymore.
Oh, that's probably because the ticker is
okay. So now that we've had all of that out of the way, Bobby Mackey's Music World, let's start this up. Like I said, it's pretty close to us. Not a very large town at all. 2,600 people, I think. The 2000 census read.
Yeah.
So
Wilder, Kentucky.
Wilder, Kentucky.
I didn't know if you said that.
I might not have. I may be skipping ahead here. Still, just loving that boom stand, Oscar. Start out growing up in Wilder, Kentucky, kind of working the railroads because the railroads were kind of known for this area. I believe what was it called? The Louisville, Cincinnati, Lexington Railroad.
Yeah.
Was a real big hub in that area, obviously because you have the stuff coming from the south, stuff coming from the north, and it becomes a very big crossroads because you have Louisville, Cincinnati, Lexington all in this triangle. Evansville's not far away. Further north, I mean, you got Columbus to the east, and then of course Atlanta to the south, Nashville. So Oh, Daryl. Daryl says, nope, won't see me going in there. Ain't going to happen. Yeah, I
Ain't
imagine
gonna
so.
happen. He's not even gonna try to act like he's macho when it comes to Bobby Mackey's.
Yeah.
And then he would, I'm like, okay, so let's just, this is before we knew they were closed. But I'm like, okay, we'll just run in, we'll buy a t-shirt, and then we'll go. And he's like, there ain't no way. Because what if something like attaches onto us and then we bring that home? Like, no.
Yeah. Okay, so with the railway, again, it's a pretty big hub. So Bobby Mackey finds himself, I imagine, like many people do at the time, working the railroads and what have you nearby.
Yeah.
The only problem with his life at that point is he has a very deep seated passion with country music. So eventually he'll take on that passion and actually go on tour for about 12 years singing. And all the while, he has this slightly further dream of not touring anymore. And all he wants, hello, Angel, all he wants is to be able to have a place where he could play his music for everybody and just give everybody a good time. And that's what he longs for while he's touring. So he ends up coming back to Wilder, Kentucky around the year 1978. And in 1978, he ends up finding a building that looks fantastic. It was a bar previous.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes with a realtor and starts checking it out. He gets super excited. You know how men get super excited about something and just you can't take them off of it. Look at this, look at that. It's shiny. It's freaking great.
So would you even say that he had blinders on?
Yes.
When it came to this, because
absolutely.
It had been a saloon. The rumors had been there, and even with all of the activity that other people were having, I think that Bobby kind of had blinders on, in the beginning.
Yeah, and he definitely did, because not only is that like an investment venture, but he's also, like I said, country music is part of his passion. Whatever.
Yeah.
I keep saying country music. It doesn't matter. He could be into hardcore thrash metal. He could be doing polka music. As long as he has this passion for music, there's a certain sense of you can never give that up. And he wants to take this as a step further, which technically really isn't a step further. He's already done the hard work. He toured.
Yeah.
I mean, people have this grandiose notion of what touring in a band is like, and I guess my first thought would be, to many people, would be like Motley Crue style, and that's not at all how most bands tour. I mean, back then, if you were getting paid enough, sure, I imagine you got yourself in a lot of trouble. But 9 times out of 10, with a lot of people, a lot of bands, when they go on tour, you're barely making ends meet. And in fact, you're probably losing a lot of money when you go on tour. So it's really a labor of love in that. So now, in a way, and to me, he's taking kind of not a step back, but a kind of a trying to shoot for a more achievable goal of just having a place to hang out, play his music for people, and have fun. So now he's found this building and he's super excited about it. And you're right, he has these blinders on, because it's just not the excitement of having a new investment venture, of a new property or whatever. He gets to apply his passion in the way he's always wanted to apply it, which is to play it. Oscar just fell off the desk.
Just fell.
I tried catching him. He scratched me, and I'm sorry, Oscar. He's good.
He's good. He's all right. He's all right. He's back in the game.
Oscar, stop walking in a circle. You're fine. So he gets to apply it in a way that he's always wanted to apply it. So he gets excited and he brings his wife Janet out and he goes, I love this place. And on the very first day that they're even there, Janet gets bad vibes. I mean, Janet is kind of already known for being this no nonsense person, but reliable, having a reliable opinion. And she already just, for some reason, doesn't like it, doesn't dig it, doesn't find it safe. And as the time that she's in the building on this first visit, she starts to hear voices, like mumbling voices, maybe just in the other room over. Megan, you showed up, you found it. There it is. Okay, I'm going to read the comment now, because Megan says, I love Bobby Mackey's. I've gotten some good EVPs and Spirit Box evidence from 3 years ago. So thank you, Megan. I'm glad you found it.
Yay.
Fantastic. Okay, so no, that's where it was. So Janet starts hearing voices like mumbling in different rooms and what have you. And she ends up questioning Bobby, like, who are you talking to? And Bobby's like, I'm not talking about anyone or talking to anyone. It's just us here. What are you talking about? So Janet, understanding, like, okay, maybe I'm just hearing stuff, but maybe we should think about this. Maybe we should regroup and make sure this is a good deal. And of course, Bobby, being a man, doesn't want to listen.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't experienced anything.
Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, he hasn't experienced anything. He doesn't see a problem with it.
Yeah.
She, for some reason, for one reason or another, she's
Her spidey,
overreacting.
yeah, her spidey senses are like, nope.
No, to him, I mean.
Oh yeah,
To
yeah.
him, she's just overreacting.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
yeah.
nerves. Maybe she's worried about how much money that they're going to have to sink into it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not going to do well. So she's worried. They want to talk it over, but eventually he gets the keys and they start working. So they need to get it back up to snuff, right? And do you want to take over? Or do we just keep rolling?
Oh, just keep going.
I feel like I'm on
Yeah.
a roll,
No,
right?
yeah, you're go.
Drink
You
beer.
go.
I haven't drink beer. I drank beer last night. I didn't drink beer tonight, but my shirt says drink beer. So if you are in a spot where you can drink beer for me right now, let me know.
Drink a beer, listen to some paranormal,
It's great,
spooky stuff. What more could you ask for?
Exactly. So
maybe a pizza, something like that.
Bobby and Janet start working, just getting everything back up to snuff, getting some plumbing done, maybe a little bit of reconstruction, slapping on some reconstruction. Sorry, I mumbled there. Slap it on some new paint, if you will. And they end up meeting with a guy named Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson used to work. Are you typing?
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
Why are your keys?
It's okay. It's okay, man. Go ahead. It's
like
okay.
a mile high.
Man, I said it's okay. Go ahead.
Are you like whack-a-moling your keyboard?
Wow.
What's happening?
You couldn't just act like you didn't notice it. But no, you just had to call me out. This is why we have problems.
I feel like you're stepping on a bunch of like...
is why...
I feel like we just scattered a bunch of like...
carry on now.
Creamer, the creamer things?
I said good day, sir.
And you're stepping on a bunch of them. Carrying on. So they meet a guy named Carl Lawson, and Carl Lawson was actually a handyman, just kind of a general helper of the last bar. So he comes in and asks for a job, and Bobby gives it to him. And one thing I want to point out that I don't know if I'm going to exactly mirror our script at all, and I'm going to put this flat out right now because I had a hard time finding the specifics of this story. I had a hard time finding stuff on Bobby Mackey because there's this vicious cycle whenever you do research about the place.
Oh, the same thing printed over and over.
No, not even that. You search Bobby Mackey because I wanted some history of Bobby Mackey himself. I don't care.
Oh, yeah, and not the music world.
And I didn't care about music world at the time, and the part of the story that I kind of wanted to dig into. You search Bobby Mackey and you find Music World and his country music that he's doing. And then you find like a wiki page, for example, that immediately only directs you to basically the Music World.
Yeah. So it's hard to find actual just information.
There's like a paragraph
on him,
like that big about him that directs you to the Music World. And then you go, okay, fine. I guess I'll go to the Music World. And you find the Music World.
Yeah.
And essentially there's not much there either about this specific meat of the story. They'll tell you like little snippets of the past, which don't get me wrong, we will go into.
Yeah.
But this section of the story, you can't find a lot of that information on. I mean, maybe it's because I had a really tough work week this week, and I did put in my due diligence with it, but it was kind of very few and far between. I got something that I wanted to use. What I did find a lot of information in, unfortunately, was a docudrama called A Haunting, which if any of you like different of the paranormal shows, you'll probably be familiar with A Haunting. And I didn't rip it off exactly, but dang, like I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of go through our narrative, which is essentially a haunting. And then I watched a few other videos that we're going to spice this up with, but I was hoping that A Haunting would have done a decent enough job that we're here now, because it's a fascinating story that could not corroborate with many other sources.
Yeah.
So let's carry on. So Carl Lawson is even surprised that Bobby Mackey would even want the place. And Bobby's like, why? Why wouldn't I want this place? Oh, well, what happened to the last place? And it seems like a perfect
how you would say that
pitch of a movie, right? Oh, I'm surprised they've opened this back up after what happened last time.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
And Bobby obviously just...
I know, right?
Carl just goes, zing!
Yeah.
And jerks that pole back as soon as Bobby bites. And Carl goes, well, there's just a lot that happened here. People just got violent and they started to get into fights and brawls and general fisticuffs. And Bobby, which like I would agree, and I think everybody in the story agrees, I've read Alex's tagline so many times, and now I want to go watch Hocus Pocus. For the audio listeners, we have our names, and we can put in whatever we want with our names. My name says Alex, watches Hocus Pocus nightly, and that's not wrong. So Bobby bites, and he says, okay, okay, what happened? And Carl goes on to say that there was a lot of violence, like I said before, general fisticuffs and what have you. Hello, Oscar. And it got to the point that the last year that the bar was open was its worst, and it had 6 homicides. And Carl was convinced
that's crazy.
Yeah, that Carl was convinced that something about the property just made people wig out.
Yeah, yeah.
And we would tend to agree that, when most alcohol-fueled environments, such as bars, saloons, or in this case, honky-tonks, that you tend to have those emotions flaring sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a little too much machismo, and someone says something that someone else takes wrong, and now we're throwing hands. So it wasn't totally out of the ordinary, but 6 homicides in the last year that it was made was a little too much for the city itself, and they were forced to shut down. So Carl was a little apprehensive about even coming back in, but Bobby assured him that this is not going to be the same situation. He just wanted a good, wholesome time, have a few beers, and he wanted to play his music and give people a good time, which made Carl feel a little bit better about the situation. Are you going to add anything, or are you just going to sit there clicking?
Oh, I'm just clicking. It's all right.
Okay. That was no judgment.
Okay.
That was no judgment. Megan says, I couldn't even go to the bathroom by myself. Just go in your pants. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. I think that should be like a rule. When you go on an investigation, you know what? We're just going to wear adult diapers.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
I think that, I think it should absolutely be called for.
Why even diapers?
Save time. Why you just go in your pants?
That's why I wear shorts and high tops. Or shorts and high tops.
Mental note, never go on an investigation with Alex.
I just buy a lot of socks.
I just don't go.
It's fine.
Because there are a lot of socks.
So
it's fine.
So we can move on here. And during the short time that they started working on the place, talking about Janet, Carl, and Bobby, Carl and Janet seem to bond, like a brotherly, sisterly bond, and they start to confide in each other in the feelings that this place is kind of giving them that Bobby hasn't really felt or experienced yet. So they both hear voices every now and then, and it wouldn't be long till the voices became like physical assaults.
It gets worse.
This is where the proverbial shit hits the fan.
Ooh. Oh my.
Or at least starts to. Like it's not globules yet.
Do you wonder if somebody just said, like one of them just said, this isn't so bad?
Who?
I don't know. Janet, Carl, somebody, Bobby.
About what?
About, the activity and everything, because it goes from just hearing voices to, well, we'll talk about that here in a minute.
Okay.
But I just mentally picture them, hear a couple noises, little disembodied voices.
Yeah.
Not
anyway.
that bad.
So it comes to the point that one day Janet was working in the kitchen, cleaning whatever she was cleaning, and she starts hearing some noises, and eventually she starts seeing what appears to be blood boiling up through the plumbing in the sink, decently quickly filling the sink up. So this is just bad enough, but then some type of force kind of forces her against the sink, and she feels her head being pushed into the sink basin.
How terrifying is that?
Presumably trying to drown her in, we'll call it blood, but who knows what it is.
Yeah, who even knows what it is?
So understandably, she's a little concerned, and she starts to scream for help. So she's kind of struggling, screaming, trying to pull herself out of the sink, and she's continually being forced in. Why are you laughing?
I'm just thinking screaming would be one of the many things that I would be doing at that point.
Megan, this would be the proper time where you would just piss yourself.
I'm not even going to say what all would be happening.
Okay.
I mean,
so she's struggling. She's calling for help. And finally, and probably in just pure theatrical fashion, it took forever, right?
Yeah.
So Carl comes in and is like, what the hell's going on? Just as she's released from this force. And she starts, frantically telling him what happened. He's like, what the hell? Let's get in the sink. Nothing is in the sink. At least from the portrayal of the documentary. Yeah. So she's telling the story, the blood filling up, and she's getting forced in. And Carl's like, man, I believe you, but there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
Now.
Bone dry.
So we're talking like, what did you just set down? A boulder?
I don't know. I knocked on the table.
Oh, Jesus. I thought it was a coffee cup. I'm like, how much does that weigh?
What?
Oh, my God.
Whoops.
So they go on to tell Bobby about this. And again, through this whole time, and by the way, this will be a continuing thing, Bobby hasn't experienced anything.
Nothing.
He hasn't heard a voice, seen anything weird going on. He stepped in gum one time, which kind of pissed him off. But then,
other than that,
nothing. So he gets kind of agitated with Carl. He thinks that Carl is kind of filling Janet's head with a bunch of stories, kind of freaking her out. Yeah.
Shady going on there.
So he, probably not politely, probably a little bit sternly, asked that Carl not do this anymore. Stop telling these stories. And I believe during this conversation, it got to the point of, if you don't stop telling these stories, I'm not going to have you around anymore.
Yeah, kind of.
And Carl doesn't want that. So, all right, I'm sorry. He just kind of backs off of it.
Well, I think, too, is Bobby kind of wondered, is Carl crazy? Is Carl making all this stuff up and telling Janet? Or is Carl legitimately, does he legitimately have mental issues going on?
It could be, but do you automatically mistrust the account of somebody else as opposed to the person who you actually kind of mistrust?
I'm saying I wonder if he did kind of, like, wait a minute, is Carl crazy?
Yeah, I'm sure that came into his mind.
According to Bobby, he's not hearing anything, he's not seeing anything.
Hey, and I'm not even going to bury the lead. Eventually, this does become a legitimate question, but at this point in time, I think he's just more about like stop spooking her.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, she's having a rough time. And she's got more invested in this right now than you kind of do because we got the actual money put down into this. Sure, you want a job and you need the job, but rightfully, you can go get a job anywhere.
And
so can you please cool it?
Yeah. You know what we should mention, though, that, right about this time when this, the sink incident and all this stuff is happening, while they're remodeling, that Janet was pregnant with their child.
Yep.
So, and then I'll let you go on and the episode with the stairs.
So that'll be later. So you jumped way ahead. So now we come to two separate incidences where we have somebody who's not one of the three experiencing something. So we have a local police officer. His name is Larry Hornsby, and Officer Hornsby, I think he's retired now. So would it still be officer? No, he's not officer anymore. So it'd be Mr. Hornsby, right?
Yeah.
We'll go on to
retired officer.
Okay, there you go. Retired officer Hornsby. We'll go on to do a few interviews, and he would do his little part, especially in at least this documentary. I don't think he was in the other ones that I was in or that I watched. He would talk about the first time he had actually had experience with it. He was just kind of driving the beat. Mm-hmm. Because in Wilder, you don't walk a beat; it's too small. So, is that a term? Driving the beat?
I've never heard that. I've always heard walking a beat.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make it now. So if anybody else can go ahead and share this for me, he drove a beat. He was driving the beat in Wilder, Kentucky, and he happened to be by Bobby Mackey's. And for one reason or another, he kind of stopped by. And initially, we don't know why, but he noticed that there were shadows kind of walking around inside the music world.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a small town, and with no lights on the inside. Hey, Carlene, thanks for joining us. Without any lights on the inside and not appearing to be open, there shouldn't be anybody in there. So he decides to call in backup because he thinks maybe it's an intruder of some kind. Yeah. So he calls in backup. So a second officer comes. So we're up to two officers now who end up entering the building. By the way, two officers first time entering the building. Remind me this after the next part because I had a question. So both officers enter the building and both officers began to hear what they think is a man and a woman talking or discussing something while listening to the radio because there's this music going on behind the stage. So they do the typical cop thing, which is like, show yourselves, come out here. What are you doing?
Is that what cops sound like?
I imagine in my head like that. So I also imagine them having guns drawn, although they probably shouldn't at this point, but I guess they probably do. This is 1970, 78.
Yeah, if it's nighttime,
they just pull up in their Crown Vics and they pull their snub nose Magnums or whatever they use. I don't know what that is. They use
Dirty Harry style.
Probably revolvers still back then because I don't think they had 9mm until late 80s. I don't know what I'm talking about. So they obviously go through the rigmarole of telling them to show themselves very forcibly. And they finally get back behind the stage. And as you could probably guess it, nothing was there. No more sounds. It was completely gone.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, this is kind of weird because you heard this, right? I heard this. You heard this. I heard this. And just as they're discussing this in this fashion, they hear the door that they had came through to get into here slam shut. So now they're like, oh shit. And then they book it hardcore cop style back outside to catch whoever it was who just ran outside. You get out there and ta-da, nobody's there. Hi, Oscar. Again.
Which I thought was an interesting point too, is, because a lot of people had claimed that, you know what, between Bobby Mackey, Janet Mackey, and Carl, that between the three of them, that they concocted this story, and to make the bar more attractive to paranormal hunters.
Well, they say that now.
Yeah. But how you can't very well, unless Bobby Mackey paid off two cops, these are two outsiders who have literally nothing to gain, that are reporting activity.
I think you could probably argue either way, though. From being from any type of position in a municipality, that you would want some type of tourism, especially what have you. Being a cop, though, you probably wouldn't want the kind of tourism.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A bar would bring.
So if people say, oh well, between the three of them, they just made this whole story up to bring business in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's I guess that's one theory.
Yeah.
But when you throw in the experiences of these two cops, they didn't have nothing to gain, and like you said, they have a lot to lose, kind of. Because it's more drunk people that could potentially,
Yeah. Okay, so we got to move on. We're already at 40 minutes. We talk too much.
I know.
So
it's not me.
So Officer Hornsby, this wouldn't be his only appearance in this story. A few nights later, actually, he will reappear because he would be called to the scene of an accident right outside Bobby Mackey's Music World, which would claim the lives of the two individuals in the car. Single car accident. Oscar is literally rubbing his face on the tablet.
He's a lunatic.
That is recording me right now.
He's a lunatic.
Hopefully it doesn't pop off.
I would maybe move him just in case. I wouldn't trust it.
Okay, I'm going to carry on. So the scene of a crash that claimed the lives of both people in it right outside Bobby Mackey's Music World. They get there with, oh my God. They get there and they decide, okay, the MTs aren't here yet. Let's get them out of the car, get them covered in case anybody happens by. Let's not do this. Oscar, you have lost privileges.
You have lost podcast privileges, Oscar.
So they want to get the bodies kind of not taken care of, but taken care of for the time being, the best they can before the paramedics get there. So they get both of the bodies out of the car and they kind of lay them on the ground. And don't ask me why, but up until now, they hadn't thought about what they were going to cover them up with. And alas, they have nothing to cover them up with. So now they're kind of debating on what to do. They end up calling into dispatch, requesting that the EMTs hurry it up a bit. Put some salt on it, Spanky, and get over here. And because we don't have anything to cover them up with. And apparently the way that the representation would have it, a woman in white comes up to them and hands them 2 tablecloths. And just in the heat of the situation, they just kind of quickly thank her and cover up the bodies as the paramedics eventually get there. After they clear the scene, kind of secure the area, they end up going into Bobby Mackey's because that's where the woman came from. And even if the lights were off, there had to be someone in there because the woman came out to give them the tablecloth help. So they end up knocking on the door, trying to get in, and they can't get in, and it's locked. And no one answers. So they go by Bobby's the next day, and Bobby's there, and they come in like, hey, did you hear about that accident last night? Bobby's like, yeah, that's terrible. Bobby's like, yeah, that's terrible. And they go, can you just go ahead and thank us more in depth, that lady who brought out the tablecloths? And he goes, what lady? And it's a quintessential ghost story. They tell her that there was a woman that came out, lent him a hand, gave him some tablecloths to cover up the bodies because they didn't have anything. And Bobby goes, yeah, there wasn't anybody here past 10 last night, let alone a woman. So coming to my question. So the first night they came with the shadows and the suspected intruder, they got in. How'd they get in?
Oh, yeah, true.
And the second night when this happened, the woman came out. They tried to go in to thank her. They couldn't get in because the door was locked. Why was the door not locked the first time?
Yeah.
So was there really an intruder? I mean, they heard stuff, obviously, but it just begs the question.
Yeah.
So there's one thing I thought about. Like, why would you be able to get in one night, not the other? Of course, maybe they locked the door one night and not the other. I don't know. But regardless, in these 2 separate instances that I believe happened just a few days apart, the door was locked on one night and not on the other.
So what do you guys think, based on the information so far? Do you think that Bobby Mackey's is haunted? Or do you think it's just a story fabricated to drum up business? Let us know in the comments.
Can you take it from me for 2 seconds? I need to get a beverage. I'm like, take it over. Take it over.
This would be a good opportunity.
I forgot to grab them. We got like an hour left.
To talk about how Alex is constantly in a state of being unprepared. Which reminds me, I think he left this out. So I'm going to go back and clarify on this. So we had talked about how Janet was pregnant with the couple's child when she started being, like Trista said, there's really no other way to say it other than she was being tormented, right? And did you get into about the whole stairs thing?
Oh, I'm back. Not yet.
Yeah, okay.
Not yet. Okay. I lost my place. Here we go. I didn't get into it yet because that's next.
What is next?
Please pardon me.
1 moment, please.
I'm sucking beverages down today, so I feel better now. I appreciate your concern. So, not too long later, I say not too long in the loosest fashion of the term, because I don't know. So,
I don't know.
I don't have specific times for some of these. This is what you get. When we do this as a hobby, you get this. So, you get what you pay for.
Half-assed, minimal research.
There
No,
you go.
I'm kidding.
There
I'm
you go.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I had 5 sources for this, and only the one was a main one. Other than the paranormal shows that I watch, where you got Jack Osborne getting accused of being the focal point of possession. I don't know.
Dude, don't even get me started on this.
So, we'll get to that later. So, so we come to the next story. Again, sometime later, I can't give you definitive.
Did you lock Oscar out?
No, I locked him in.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in here.
Okay.
So this is interesting too. Let's bring this up for a second. Megan, you are the superstar of today's comments. She said, when I went once, when it was closed, we had a spirit box and heard a woman's voice saying, "Help me," like they wanted us to come inside.
No.
I'll go in. Sure.
I'll go in.
How can I assist you, ma'am?
That was the last time we saw Alex alive.
How can I assist you, ma'am?
Can I assist you?
I will help you. I have nearly transparent eyebrows. How can I be of service? So we move on to this next story that I've now attempted to try 3 times now. Janet Mackey would be working upstairs, and she'd be coming down the flights of stairs to the first floor, and she would begin to get pushed down them. Now, when I say pushed, my first thought is like and she just like like what was that movie with Bruce Willis?
With
Goldie Hawn.
Was that the one with the
Dead.
landlord? Oh no, I don't know that.
Dead. Shit. Dead. What was it called? Someone help me.
I don't know.
Bruce Willis. Think Goldie Hawn. One lady gets shot in the stomach. You can see through the hole. They're dead, but they're alive again.
Death Becomes Her.
Death Becomes Her. Thank you. Jesus, I thought you'd be on that much quicker.
Wow.
I just imagine Death Becomes Her when they shove her down the stairs, just tumbles down, twists her neck around. That's what I imagine.
That's kind of horrific. That's kind of traumatizing.
Yes, this is not what happened. So from the way
she did go down the stairs.
The way they portray it happening was more of a continual force pushing her, kind of like in her first incident. To where not like a gust of wind shoved her like in a sudden fashion.
No.
But one that kind of Holly Angle overboard, you lose 10 supernatural tendencies punk points.
Oh no.
It was not overboard. That was Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. You lose
I love that movie.
10 supernatural tendencies podcast punk points today. Sorry.
Did they do a remake or there? I thought I saw where they did or they were going to.
They did. They did do that. So here you go, Holly Angle. Without cheating, I will help you regain those 10 lost supernatural tendencies podcast punk points. If you could tell me the name of the artist who sings "We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off." If you could tell me that, you gain those 10 points back. Don't cheating. I'm trusting you in the honor system. That is this song for the day. So tell me who sings that song.
Is that going to be your song
for today? I have already a song for next week.
We should do that every week. Like we'll have a song and we will give you a line out of that song and you have to guess it.
I already have one lined up.
Okay, and the only clue you're going to get is that it could be anywhere from 1950s, okay, to Present time.
Oh.
Or should we make it older? Yeah, because we have new, younger people. So, what?
So the younger people would know the older music.
Well, no,
past
but they might know
1950?
the newer stuff. I don't know. Do you want to have a cutoff? Like we'll have
No, we don't have to.
90s.
No,
50s through 90s.
Next week is going to be 90s. So anyway.
Okay.
So this force is continually pushing her down the stairs, almost like it's just like steadily putting pressure on her. So she tries to grab hold of the banister while her feet are kind of slip sliding down the stairs, like kind of boof, 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 while she's trying to hold herself. From what I understand, she didn't full on fly down a horrible number of stairs, but apparently she did at some point lose footing on across multiple at one time, maybe, and she would go into early labor. So whether or not the actual physicality of this incident forced her,
doesn't know music. Sorry.
Most definitely loser because I don't know music. Well, you better find it out if you want to be in the positive for punk points for this week, Holly. So I'm not sure if it was the physicality of this interaction that sent her into this premature labor, or if it was just the stress in general.
Oh, the combined.
Yeah, just kind of like that was it. Her body's like, done, let's go. And she actually gave birth to a girl at a mere 1 pound, 15 ounces.
Yeah.
So needless to say, the fate of the child was really hanging in the balance for quite a while. And I will, with a collective sigh from the audience, say that the daughter turned out fine.
Yeah, luckily.
I feel like I've talked a lot. Like, I know I technically have.
You always talk a lot.
But, man. Can someone give me a woot woot in the chat for how good my beard looks today?
My God, give him a woot woot.
Just like, wow.
Trista's going to give you a pang pang.
Wow. Look at this.
Trista, you would be so proud of me today. Daryl and I worked on the bedroom and the spare room.
Are we talking about bedrooms and spare rooms right now?
Well, we are, because I keep saying that I'm going to do it and I haven't done it. So Trista will probably write me and be like, I'm going to need to see a video because I'm still not believing that you did it. Are you really drinking that on camera? And
I don't have any beer.
We do not own Sam's Choice Cola. Although we do support it.
There you go. Do you also see my mic flag? Did anybody notice my mic flag this week? The audio podcast listeners, you're missing out because I have a Supernatural Tendencies podcast
white it.
mic flag.
Holly gave you a woo woo.
Thank you, Holly. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Holly. And there's your 10 points back.
Not yet. I'll think about it. Let me mull it over. Okay, so let's move on here.
On, sir.
Throughout all this stress of all these happenings that happen, that I'm going to reiterate it, and it's going to be annoying, but it's going to be a continuation all the way through, that Bobby still hasn't seen any of this.
What?
And of course, he hears the story of what happened to Janet and what she thinks made her go into early labor, but he's still having to deal with the stress of the labor itself and hearing the stories that he doesn't believe. Go ahead, sorry.
I just want to say, how do you think that conversation went? Like she's been telling him all this, this whole time, like, Bobby, I think this place is haunted. I hear voices, blah, 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 blah. So then she takes a tumble down the stairs, almost loses the kid. And Bobby's still like, what? I'm not seeing anything. I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, I want to point out House. I think he might have left already.
What?
Stacy Cross. We call him House. Haven't talked to House in a while. He showed up in my live feed. House, I miss you, buddy. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. But I'm just saying, like, how do you think that whole conversation went? Yeah. Because by all accounts, Bobby still went on with, I'm still going to open. We're still going to open Music World. Like, I totally, whatever. Okay. You fell down the stairs. You got pushed down the stairs, whatever. But I'm still going to open this because this is my dream.
And this has to happen. I mean, this is Bobby's job now. Obviously, Janet's working, and I mean, back then, I don't want to sound like this, but like, was she like a stay-at-home mom? Did she have a full-time job? I'm not sure, and I don't really care, because the point is that now as a family, they've sunk what I can imagine to be quite a bit of their money into this building to get it reestablished, to get it open again, so that we could do this, which seems to be the most Caucasian thing ever, for you to stay into a house because that's all you got.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I straight up live in a 2-story Dorito bag if I sunk a bunch of money into this. badass house that turned out to be just absolutely infested. I mean, let's be honest here. This is one tonk.
I'm Caucasian and I wouldn't leave.
This one tonk that just filled to the brim with honkies in it, okay? And there's just a bunch of ghosts in it already.
You know you're white, right?
I don't care.
I don't care. That means nothing to me.
I have a Latino last name. I have Latino heritage. Don't you tell me what race I am. Whenever I fill out application or a resume,
do you mark Hispanic?
They ask me 2 questions.
Wow.
They ask me my race and my ethnicity.
You just hope to get something a little extra.
No.
I know you.
No. They ask me my race, and my race is Caucasian, but my ethnicity is Latino. So they asked me that specifically.
Wow.
They don't ask me about my Irish side. They don't give a shit about Ireland. They want to know.
Native American, because we have Blackfoot
Indian
on our side.
That's right. They do ask Native American.
Italian. They don't ask any of that, though, do they?
So do we know what happened after the baby
drink and cook?
Do we know what happened after the baby was born, haunting-wise, Trista asks. And not really. That's like the only real appearance that the child makes in this
Well, because they ended up splitting up. I don't know if it was over this specific incident or if it was just kind of everything combined and Janet was like, I'm out.
Gary, thank you for joining us.
I don't know.
Gary, thank you for joining us. Gary, little Gary, if you're watching this on my feed, if you have time to stick around for a minute, go to the podcast page and get in there. If you want to comment, everybody can see the comments through there. If not, I have to specifically keep an eye on you. So yeah, not much is said about the daughter. And like I said, very minimal information about his family and all the research I've done. I don't even know her name. So I'm not sure how exactly it worked out.
I don't think I ever found that in...
I'm not even wholeheartedly believing that his wife's name is Janet because she, in a lot of interviews, she doesn't want to be seen.
Oh, I have seen interviews with her, and
her name's still Janet, right?
It's still Janet.
Okay, but wouldn't you use the same name? Because my question is A, did she stay in Wilder, Kentucky, a town of 2,600 people? How many Janets are there that feasibly you could just go looking for a Janet in Wilder? Is she still there? So I wonder if it was just a made-up name too, because her face is usually blurred or blacked out when she's talking. So no, we don't really know a whole lot about what happened to the child during this.
Yeah.
So regardless, though, they have the child. She's fine. You all can breathe a sigh of relief. Unfortunately for Bobby, he cannot breathe too much of a sigh of relief because now he's got to open the nightclub. So he opens the nightclub, and he wants to just pound it into Carl. Just pound it into Carl. Stop telling ghost stories because it's going to scare people away.
Yeah. Carl, I'm going to need you to shut your mouth.
Yeah. All right. So, Carl, just go ahead and this is what you're doing. Just do that for me, okay?
Word, Carl, you're going to sleep at the fishes.
Just don't do that. Sling the drinks. Shut up. There you go.
Do your job, Carl.
So, opening night, pretty respectable. Next couple of weeks, I believe. Yeah. Excuse me. I just had a burp. Thanks, Sam Cola.
Wow.
Next couple of weeks, still relatively uneventful. And for some God's forsaken reason, Carl decides it to be a good idea to move into the apartment above the club. Now,
I know.
Yes.
You've got the heebie-jeebies. You're hearing things. Poor Janet took a tumble down the stairs. She about got shoved in a sink full of bloody water or whatever that mysterious viscous liquid was. Why would you move in? No.
So, I know I'm Caucasian.
Oh, now he's Caucasian.
I know that I appear to be Caucasian to most of you other Caucasians.
To the naked eye.
Which allow me to blend in to your culture so well.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I found myself wondering whether or not I'm actually Caucasian because you got people like Carl Lawson, rest in peace, be his soul.
How long ago did he pass away?
I don't know, but it was after 2005, I believe.
Okay.
God's rest his soul. You have white people like Carl Lawson who literally say, this is terrible. This place is evil. There's nothing good here. But for some reason, I keep getting drawn back. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to one-up this.
Do it.
I'm going to up the ante on this and go, you know what? I'm going to move in.
I'm going to do it.
Yep. I'm going to move upstairs.
Yep.
What better way can I combat this evil that I solely feel that is here?
Yeah, because didn't he
at
one point take holy water and dump it down in the well? that was uncovered in the basement?
You're jumping the story.
Oh.
You're jumping the story. Okay.
See it, and that's why I just sit over here and not say anything.
I have cultivated this intricately woven story that I've totally ripped off from the docudrama Haunting, and you're clearly ruining it. So let's move on. He moves upstairs. And can anybody in the chat take a guess at what happens to Carl when he's upstairs?
We'll give 10 bonus points right now.
10 bonus Supernatural Tendencies podcast points.
What happened to Carl?
In general. Nothing specific.
Yeah,
just in general.
Be like, what happened to Carl?
It's a really simple answer.
Hurry up and get him in there. Hurry up and get him in the comments.
It's a really simple answer.
And
I'm going to give you 2 seconds.
And not a pretty one at that. Misty's just jumping on.
Hey, Misty. We're talking about Bobby Mackey's Music World in Wilder, Kentucky.
Bobby Mackey's.
Trista says, excellent question. You have all run out of time due to the internet lag, so I'm going to answer that for you. He experiences more ghosts. That's it.
No, beyond that.
Hold on. You're ruining the narrative. I can't
because I'm too excited.
You're ruining the narrative. So, do you all know, have you ever been in any type of restaurant near closing time or maybe opening time, maybe suspiciously peered in windows? No, he doesn't die, Jennifer.
Jen says he dies.
Wow, Jen.
She's just off in Carl right now.
Jen, if you were
not even gonna, you know what? He should have known better. He shouldn't have moved in. That's what he gets.
Jen, if you were writing the script for this movie, this would be over. That'd be a short movie. I mean,
and he died.
Rightfully, you probably save a lot of money doing it like that. But no, Carl Lawson does not die. Not here. Cindy says he ordered a pizza and it never came.
Good guess.
That tends to happen sometimes.
Give her 10 points for that.
Yeah, why not?
That's worth 10 points.
That's a wholehearted answer.
That's a 10 pointer right
if
there.
you've ever at least known how the proper closing procedure of any restaurants are, usually you have the bar stools and or chairs flipped up on the table at some point so you can mop, which is what happened at Bobby Mackey's Music World. Does he get pushed as well? You're a little late, Holly, but it's okay. We'll take it. There's your 10 points back, Holly. Thank you. Yep, there it is. So he's coming downstairs. He hears some noises and all the chairs and bar stools were flipped up where they should be, so he could have mopped before he went upstairs. And all of these chairs that are flipped up everywhere else start rocking and then falling off in succession from all the tables and the bar stools, understandably frightening him, to which he called it a literal nightmare.
I would have better word. Oh, I don't want to say better, but I would have more descriptive words.
I want to put special emphasis now on this point. We've already talked about it. We've already covered it. Quite frankly, this could be overkill. The only problem is it still goes to prove the point that this dude thought it a great idea to literally move into a place of nightmares to begin with. And then
my mind.
I won't say ensures, that's not the word. More deeply ingrains this thought when he sees freaking chairs falling off of all the tables and such in the bar. Does he leave? Does he say, you know what? It's enough. I've felt strange things. They've pushed Janet, made her go into early labor, almost trying to drown her in a sink full of blood that I didn't see, but I believe her. Now these chairs are flying off. Maybe I should get the hell out of Dodge. No, he doesn't. He stays. He stays there.
I got the scratchy throat going.
You need a Ricola or something.
I don't have any cough drops. I cannot stand the taste of cough drops.
So Tara says it wouldn't be a short movie. We would just have to follow his ghostly activities. Clearly, Alex has never seen the movie Ghost.
Great. Now here's a tangent in 3, 2, and 1.
Not going to do it. I'm going to turn a new leaf today. Not going to do it.
What?
Thank you for your contribution, Tara. I'm not going to go into that because we must move on. Misty, we would have left, as most smart people would. They would, but
Hi,
he didn't.
Jennifer.
With a bottle of whiskey in hand. I'm going to leave this to brew while I continue talking. What kind of whiskey would you prefer, Misty? So, one day after this incident, because again, he stayed there. He didn't move the hell out. He's down cleaning a storage room and he finds some words etched into the wall. The words read, would you like to read the words? Do you have them up to read?
Oh, I don't. Sorry. Hold on. I can't see around my cam.
Okay. Here. I'm going to give you it so we just have a change of voice.
Oh, yeah. Like I can read your... Okay.
Calm down. It's on the drive.
Oh, don't tell me to calm down.
Don't yell into the mic that close. What are you doing?
Do you guys remember a couple weeks ago when that Alex handed me that smattering of what he called a script that literally how long did we spend? Like
forever.
2 hours trying to he couldn't even decipher his own handwriting. So, okay.
What Carl finds etched into the wall
this is what he finds. Quote, my love is as deep as the sea. It flows forever. You ask me, when will it end? I'd say never. My love is as bright as the sun. It shines forever. You ask me, when will it end? I tell you never. The world may disappear like a castle of sand. I will be waiting here with my heart in my hand. You ask me, when will I die? And I'd say never. I mean, that's a lot for a spirit to write. I mean, like you know.
Okay, now let's get this. No, let's get this straight off the bat. Don't mislead anybody.
Or whatever to write.
It was etched into the basement
Wall.
So someone had to have probably taken the time to etch in these words. How old were the words? We don't really know how old the words were. Let's talk about, has the basement been refinished so that the words were etched into new paint or finish of some kind that would make them newer rather than older? We don't know that. We don't even know the context that the freaking words are in. They're just a weird series of words, almost like a poetry, a poem. Sorry. What is more important, though, is while reading these words, Carl happens upon a loose floorboard, which he finds kind of weird. So he lifts up the floorboard. Underneath the floorboard, he finds a book, and he starts reading the book. Now, this is what we'll get to. If you happen to know Bobby Mackey as a singer, you'll start to recognize the story. Bobby Mackey would go on to write a song named Johanna, and it's written after what Carl found in this diary.
Mm-hmm.
The diary illustrates a story of a woman named Johanna, who claims via the diary that she was a dancer in the club. Was a dancer in the club in the 1930s. She fell. The door for him. Oh, hold on! I gotta take my headphones off.
One moment, please.
Commercial break.
We need to have like theme music, like Jeopardy music playing. Oscar will not be caged.
All right, I'm back. So the diary claims that Johanna was a dancer who worked for the club in the 1930s. Johanna fell in love with a man who got her pregnant. As with all great love stories, Johanna's father did not approve. So Johanna was already kind of suspicious of what her father may do. I'm not sure if her father found out she was pregnant. I assume so. Regardless,
that's how the story goes.
Her lover never came back. Went missing. Highly suspicious, Johanna suspects her father of doing something to him. She becomes so emotionally unstable about it that she would poison her father and then poison herself in the basement of the building that they're currently in. Mm-hmm. Johanna was also, again, pregnant. So there's now a few separate things that we probably need to go over right now. First off, there is a backstory and a history to the building other than what we described in the initial narrative, which all of you haven't really heard yet. Why are you laughing?
I don't know.
Okay. There is a backstory, but for artistic narrative, right now, the storytelling ability, we haven't really gone into a lot of that. We told you, I think, maybe a little bit, but we go into a little bit more detail in the narrative, and even less so for the full scope of the history of the place, simply because we want to make it more exciting, and so did the documentary Haunting. So, doing the research, somebody else's research, no real verification can be found on a woman named Johanna. Nothing else can be verified of a daughter killing her father. She ended up being pregnant over a vengeful act of the father killing the lover. None of that really can be verified. But it's really interesting how this random diary would say all of these things that was tucked away. But Carl believed it to be so, and I can't reproduce the diary. Besides Carl speaking of the diary, I'm not sure if anybody still has it. Whatever happened to the diary?
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've ever read who has the diary. Does Bobby Mackey have it?
I don't know. I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on and keep Johanna in your mind for this story. Because one night after this, Carl's going to wake up kind of out of breath. And it takes him a long time to catch his breath. He finally regains it, and he's awarded with the power going out. I know that's not really something that you gain from losing your breath, but that's what happened. Power went out. Super scary situation. And he does what any sensible person would be. Option 2, sensible person number 1 would probably run screaming from the room, trying to avoid anything in the dark. But he does the strong, tough man thing and does what he's supposed to do and go down to the breaker box to try to figure out if he can figure out how to get it back on. Nothing he does to the breaker box can turn it on. Somehow he finds a trapdoor. Are you typing again?
No.
Okay.
I was not, sir.
Okay. He finds a trapdoor of some kind that leads to a well. Now, my confusion about this. I have confusions.
I have confusion.
My mind is in a confused state about this situation. In the docudrama and some of the other things that I've read, Carl kind of happened upon a door that in my mind is like clear cut. You open up the door, inside it's a freaking hole, and the hole is the well.
Yeah.
A few of the other paranormal shows I watched, I believe it's the lady that does the guided tours through there, maybe. She's like affiliated with it somehow. Says that Carl was compelled to dig, and in the digging finds the well. So I'm not sure whether or not he found this clear-cut, perfectly looking well, or if he was inspired to dig for one reason or another.
We're not sure what
to find the well
took place there.
All I know is if you go to Bobby Mackey's, from the pictures I've seen, it looks like a pretty torn up area. Like he had to bust open the floor a little bit to get down inside, and there is some loose dirt around the well.
Yeah.
Regardless, he finds the well. Kind of tries to see how deep it is, doesn't know much about it, didn't even really know there's a well there, and he decides to do this in the freaking dark. To which he happens to start to get on some uneasy feelings, get kind of spooked. So he tries to get, and again, I don't know how to let this picture formulate in your mind, whether or not he's like looking into it, and then he shuts the trap door, he climbs out of the freaking hole that he just dug, but two men appear in front of him. Old-timey clothes. I think the one reenactment that I've seen had like a dude with like a noose around his neck. I don't want to lead you in anything more than what I have to. All we know that they're for sure that he saw the apparition of two men down there in the dark. And he did the first thing in his freaking entire life that makes sense. He flipped out and got the hell out of there.
But didn't his flashlight die or something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. His flashlight died. Even if he had a flashlight, screw it, dude.
I know.
You need to leave. He gets out of there. And I'm trying to think. Oh, hold on. So that's right. So now gets out of there. Next day he comes down and he does the only thing that a good old Southern boy knows what to do. He grabs some holy water. So his idea is that he's going to take that holy water down there and he's going to dump it down the gullet of that freaking evil well, and hopefully it's going to solve all of his issues. So he goes down in one way or another, whether or not he opens up this picturesque latch trapdoor thing, or he jumps down into this makeshift hole that he dug. We still don't know yet. That verdict or the jury's still out on that one. And he drops some holy water down in this well. Now, this is where I get skeptical. Okay. I'm a pretty rational guy, but I like storytelling too. If you know me, tell me a good story. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to cry. I'm maybe going to urinate myself. I don't care.
One of them.
But in the renditions of this story, this part of the story that I hear, drops the holy water down and flames back out of the thing.
Yeah, that's kind of like.
So you or one could inquire that did the flames back out because of some evil entity's reaction to the holy water? We don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on it, and I don't want to say that I outwardly don't believe it. What I do want to say is that the one part in one of the documentaries that I watched that featured this didn't have any interview voiceover happening. It was simply rolling of the reenactment.
Yeah.
So they don't ever technically say that's what happened. So I'm not going to lead you on any more than I have to and tell you that it did. So I don't know if flame just shot out of here like a Vietnam flamethrower when he poured the water on there. But it happened. Excuse me. Sam's Cola is terrible for burps, but I'm going to continue drinking it.
So not only do you drink it.
What?
I'm going to shoot you in the face.
Why are you going to shoot me in the face for?
Wow.
Okay. Wow. So again, at some point, Bobby and Carl are talking, and Bobby still doesn't believe Carl. Still doesn't believe him. Dude's living in there. Still doesn't believe him, probably from some preconceived notion that he's had of other crap that's going on. Still doesn't believe him. Carl, I'm just trying to run a place here, listen to music. I don't care what you do in your off time. Just keep it in the freaky deaky apartment upstairs.
Freaky deaky apartment upstairs.
So at some point, Bobby gets this right idea. He wants to film a commercial the music world. So he brings in a friend named Doug Hensley, who helps him film this commercial, bring some business in, a little faster to the club, which is understandable. So he filmed this commercial, and during the commercial, like I guess from what I understand, like maybe some downtime, he just starts talking with Doug, and Doug's kind of a friend of his, so they start talking. He goes, "Hey, how's it going?" And Bobby goes, "You know what? It's going great. The only problem is, do you think about this, Carl Lawson?" And they start talking a little bit here and there, and Doug's like, "Well, not really, but whatever." He goes, "What's your deal with him?" And Bobby goes, "You know what? Carl's acting a little bit strange." And Doug goes, "Well, what's going on?" Well, he goes, "Well, you know what? His head started spinning around the other day. Didn't like it."
I don't like it.
I'm kidding. Carl's head did not spin around, but his attitude had started to change. Bobby even would have go on to say that, "Wait, I'm in trouble for copyright?
See, that's what I'm.
Why am I in trouble for copyright?"
That's why I'm always telling you about the Sam's Choice. You can't. That's a. Yeah. So we have to say that we do not own.
Oh, for the Sam's Cola?
Sam's
Whatever.
Cola.
I bought it, right? Well, technically she bought it. I'm stealing it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Holly says.
However, we do support it.
Holly says, "We know Carl is less than smart, but why does he have random holy water? Plus, less than an ounce of holy water is expensive. In fact, it is real odd. It is real odd. But you know what? You're gonna do what you gotta do. I mean, if you're not gonna straight up move, which seems to be the logical answer, then why not just spend a bunch of money on some holy water and just dump it down the already existing well?" So, he goes on to tell Doug that, his attitude's been really weird. He doesn't know whether or not at any given time when he talks to Carl, if he's going to be talking to good Carl or bad Carl. And not necessarily bad Carl, just agitated Carl. Just
fly off the handle.
Bad news bears Carl. We don't even want to talk to that Carl anymore. Get that Carl out of here.
Get him out.
Where's good Carl?
Be gone, Carl.
Come on, Coral. You don't even watch that show. You don't understand that reference, do you?
I know.
Okay, so Doug's like, "That's real weird, man. Like, so it sounds interesting. Like, do you mind if I talk to Carl?" Now, I kind of glazed over what they talked about, but by this time, he kind of let him know that there's the spooky stuff going on that he's never experienced, but Carl and Janet believe it to be true. Yeah. So, again, Doug's like, "Hey, do you mind if I talk to him?" And Bobby goes, "I don't care. Go ahead and talk to him if you want to talk to him." So Doug starts talking with Carl, and Carl starts to tell Doug about Johanna's diary. And Doug goes, "That's super interesting. Great.
That's super interesting.
That's fantastic. I don't remember that in the history of this place, but that's fantastic. I'll look it up." He also says to Doug that he thinks this place is just straight up evil. It's bad. So Carl goes, "Okay, just calm down. I'm going to go do some research." So he ends up going to the library and do some research. He finds some pretty interesting stuff. First thing that he finds is a story from the Kentucky Post. Yes, the Kentucky Post. In the late 1800s, I believe 1897, two dental students from Cincinnati named Alonzo Walling and what was the other one's name? Scott Jackson. Were convicted. I'm sorry, I was wiping my beard off. Was convicted of the killing of a 22-year-old woman named Pearl Bryan. They found Pearl Bryan's body outside of a slaughterhouse in Wilder, Kentucky, without a head. So they
without a head.
Yeah, there was one vital piece of Pearl missing. And it happens to be her head region. Sorry, Pearl. So, Mike M. Hey, family. What's up, dude? So, they bring out the bloodhounds as they did in 1897. And the bloodhounds would lead them into the slaughterhouse basement near, they had like a cleaning, I'm assuming some type of cleaning system in there that would wash all the blood and grossness out of there. And they never found the head. So they go on trial, and it doesn't look good. Making this worse, Pearl Bryan was pregnant, and they were quickly convicted. Alonzo Walling, before being hanged, shouted a curse.
The infamous last curse.
The infamous curse. Walling curse that said he would haunt everybody involved with the trial, as well as, funny enough, the spot where her head was. Yet, we don't know where her head was. So where are you going to haunt, Alonzo? Why don't you tell us before we hang you where you're going to be haunting?
Clarity.
Well, you don't even have to tell us where the head is. Just tell us where you're going to be haunting, we'll be good, right? Okay, didn't happen. So they hang both of them.
So they hang both of them.
And they obviously died.
Yeah, they obviously died.
So if you're a smart enough individual, you can kind of connect the dots here. The slaughterhouse would eventually be Wilder, what was Wilder Station, which would now be Bobby Mackey's Music World. And the cleaning pipage underneath would be the well. So a lot of people think that Pearl Bryant's head is in the whale.
In the whale.
Is in the whale.
Where are you from?
Which brings me to why I wore my shirt today, drink beer, and then right after that, hail Satan. Is because a lot of people believe that Alonzo Walling and Scott Jackson did this out of some satanic ritual. You see, the Licking River runs right next to Bobby Mackey's Music World, and my battery's going to die. We need to hurry up.
Uh-oh.
The Licking River runs right next to Bobby Mackey's Music World, and that a lot of locals believe that a lot of Satanists, satanic devil worshiping people, come down there and they give blood sacrifices down that well. And I am always one to combat blood sacrifices for Satanists because, believe me, any Satanists that I've met are pretty good people so far. Now, if you disagree with them, hello, Oscar, in the way of my camera again. If you disagree with them on a religious standpoint, that's fine. But 9 times out of 10, there's one of the tenets of Satanism is do what you want, but do no harm, which would not fall in line with butchering things. Maybe it's a change in times. Maybe those were the old cronies of Satanism. Oscar, please, I love you, but you got to go away. So apparently, though, it got to the point where there was an actual news article of the area where the Licking River actually ran red with blood from the blood sacrifices given to the devil via this well that would eventually dump out into the Licking River. So we move on. And we have to move on quickly because I think I have like 50% battery life left on my tablet because I don't have anything. What?
Oh, all right, 15%.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Panic mode.
So Hensley would eventually bring this information back to the couple, being Bobby, Janet, and Carl. And obviously, we can't deny the fact that all the situations, be it Johanna, Pearl, and Janet, they were all pregnant, right around 5.5, 6 months.
Connection?
So this connection seems kind of odd. So Hensley offers to bring in a psychic named Patricia Michelle, and they take Patricia through, and Carl starts telling Patricia things, and Patricia goes, "Stop, Carl. I need you to do a full stop for me right now, and I don't want you to tell me anything that's happened so far because I need to figure this out for myself. I need to feel it, and I'll tell you because I don't want you to lead me." So eventually she does some stuff. She says she feels some spirits in the place, and eventually she gets down to the basement, and near the well, she starts going into dizzy spells, starts getting a whole lot of nausea to the point that she has to be escorted back upstairs.
Yeah, it's pretty serious.
So while she's recuperating, she notices that she feels the energy of two people that isn't good. And the stronger the feeling grows, the more Carl is reacting to something.
Yeah.
So he gets getting real nervous. So she starts asking Carl, she goes, "Carl, you all right?" And Carl apparently says, "They're here and they're not happy," and everything else. So somehow, Patricia gets them to go away, but she says, "You know what, Carl? I think you got a problem, buddy. I think you got some issues, and I think you're going to need a minister for this."
Yeah.
Carl doesn't think that's a bad idea at this point, which is
Carl's all for it.
It's like the second good decision, I guess, that Carl has ever made in welcoming a minister. And of course, we're going to continue on this tagline of the first time the minister walks in the building, this is the most evil place he stepped foot in. So let's take a quick recap here. We got Janet, who says, "Hey, Bobby, this place isn't great at all. I'm not feeling too great." Carl, who says, "Man, this place had a lot of murders last year. That's why it was shut down." Then we go on to Patricia, who's a psychic. I don't care what she is. She almost passed out in the basement.
Yeah.
Now she's picking up on the same shit that Carl is. And now you got a minister who says, "Bobby, this is the most evil place I've ever stepped into. And I've been to a Chuck E. Cheese." And still, Bobby goes, "Oh, all right. Cool. This sucks." Okay. So minister goes, "Okay, Carl, I think you're possessed." Carl goes, "I agree. Only problem is I think that these guys are going to kill me. And they're going to kill you too if we give them the chance." Minister goes, "It's fine. We got this."
Yeah.
We got it. So he does the quintessential exorcism, started the exorcism. And of course, Carl reacts in the way that you would commonly imagine someone who is having
Yeah.
exorcism performed to act, which is slowly getting agitated. I don't know, itching their arm or something.
Mhm.
Just he has the face where like when that day you realize, or that time of day you realize your breath is getting bad. He's this kind of thing, which would then quickly translate to him flailing around on the ground like a 4-year-old in Walmart. And now I put it funnily, I put it in a comedic fashion, and but it's really frightening everybody, and the minister's still trying to carry on with the exorcism. So he calls in, I believe, Bobby and Doug to kind of restrain him, right?
Yeah,
Give me
hold
some
him
help,
down.
guys. So by this time, Carl is going full bore on this exorcism. All cards are out. He's starting to speak Latin.
Mm-hmm.
So then automatically you start speaking Latin against any Southern Christian, and they're just going to just wig out, right? He
Mhm.
speaks Latin. Oh my God. So now he's speaking Latin, and then he's also speaking this language that nobody can really pinpoint. They're trying to figure out what this language is, but it doesn't sound like English. He's clearly not speaking English. So through the whole thing, the minister believes that he's successfully exorcised Carl. So everyone's still wondering, though, what was he saying? Like, it didn't sound like English. It didn't
Mhm.
sound like Latin. I mean, so the minister starts to write down phonetically what they think they heard. Then he takes what he wrote down and writes it backwards underneath. And what came out was, I am Satan. So essentially, Carl was wigging out, saying stuff in Latin.
Boy.
Carl was saying stuff in Latin, and he was also in English, backwards English, saying, I am Satan.
I am Satan.
I am Satan. So Carl was possessed by not only Alonzo Walling and Scott Jackson, but also Satan himself. So obviously, this right now is where our story kind of ends for the narrative, okay? I believe, and this is, you kind of at least corroborated a little bit for me, because I didn't find exactly that they were technically divorced or not together anymore, but that's how the reenactment ends. Janet's done, she's over it, and she's done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun, Bobby. This is
You're
it.
on your own.
So now we come to all the paranormal research shows that I've watched, and every time you get a little bit more of a little piece of information. Why can I not talk? So every one of these shows, they're trying to sell things, obviously, and I don't mean anything by them because I obviously watched them too.
Yeah.
I did watch Portals to Hell with Jack Osborne, and that was a pretty good one. They actually bring in a Catholic priest who tells them that you're messing with stuff you shouldn't mess with.
Oh, wow.
I believe they get some EVPs in there as well. I believe there's another one that I watched. I can't remember the name of it. I guarantee if I said it, though, you all would know it because I'm pretty sure all you guys watch that stuff more than I do. I just can't get into a lot of the syndicated shows now anymore. I can't.
That's my problem.
I can't do it. So, unfortunately, I wanted to go more in depth in this, but we're at an hour and a half, and this tablet's going to die. So our live is about to go straight dark.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, needless to say, like I said, if y'all have the time to watch A Haunting, I did take a lot of the material from it. I used the same storytelling pattern in it. I tried not to rip it off as best I can, but finding particular information besides the tidbits here and there off of this story was very difficult. So it's a great story though, and people continue to go down there today. So if you happen to want to plan a trip down to Wilder, Kentucky,
go there, check it out.
Even though, and this is very admirable about him, admirable about Bobby Mackey, is to this day he still hasn't experienced anything. He still doesn't believe anything is going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if he necessarily disbelieves everybody that has had experiences there, but he personally just doesn't believe in it.
Mm-mm.
He still runs Music World as the honky-tonk that he has dreamed of running.
Yeah.
But as being a good businessman as he is, and you're dumb if you don't do exactly what he did, he still caters to everybody who wishes to come there. So if you would like to go to Wilder, Kentucky to Bobby Mackey's Music World, it will cost you for a full guided tour of the place, $35 a person. Now, if you are an overachiever and you want to do your own paranormal investigation, for a group of up to 12 people to have full reign of the apartment upstairs, the actual club level, as well as the basement. You can do anything you want to do besides destroy the property, obviously. You can set up cameras, you can do EVPs, you can do recordings, anything you want. There will be a representative on site just to make sure everything stays kosher, but you can do whatever you want for up to 12 people for $595 a night.
Yeah.
$595. That's actually not that bad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Considering he's taken on the legal liability of anything that could happen or damages to be incurred, he'd obviously be responsible for paying that. If you brought 12 of your friends to do a full-on investigation, do whatever the hell you want to do for $595, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
So if you ever get the chance to want to do that, at least take the tour, go buy a t-shirt. They do have a gift shop. It should be a fantastic time.
Yeah. And if you do get there and you take pictures, investigate, whatever it may be, please let us know or post it in the group Supernatural Tendencies here on Facebook.
Hey, Verl Warnemont was watching us.
Because we would sure like to see it. Hi there, Verl.
Hey, Verl. Hope you win.
So,
Verl Warnemont's running for sheriff. Hopefully, Verl wins.
Yes. Will we get a new sheriff?
I don't know.
Or not?
So that's probably where we'll have to wrap it up for today. Again.
So be sure, guys, to Tuesday, the full podcast comes out. So be sure to catch us on your favorite podcast platform as well as on YouTube. So that will come out Tuesday morning. Episode 26.
That's the
We're
next
really racking them up, though, aren't we?
What?
Podcasts.
Like episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at 26. We had a few weeks there where we have just normal life happen, where we had to skip the weeks, that week's episode, but we're still getting on it. Again, quick recap: if you want to get on some extra podcast listens for the week, check out Dead Magnolia's podcast. Thank you, Miss Megan Klopstein, for joining us today.
Thank you, Megan.
I'm not sure if she's still here, but thank you so much. Again, Drink Drunk Dead from Erie, Pennsylvania. Emily and Joel, check them out. They get wasted under specific how can you say it? Themed drinks for whatever they're doing for the week. They do have their first episode about voodoo, and I think they do voodoo shooters, which sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, Kathleen John Hibbard, thank you again. Alicia Garcia, stay strong. And anybody wants to pitch in,
please go. Even if you can only donate $5, it will be
give a little bit,
much
please.
Needed and much appreciated.
Yep. I think.
And guys, if you would like to for your business band, hell, even your dog, whatever, I don't even care at this point. If you want to shout out on next week's live discussion next Saturday at 8 p.m.
Oh, real quick. I'm so sorry. Tristan has a great question. If he doesn't believe, then why sell tours? And do you want to know the simple reason to that, Trista? Why, if you're in the same situation? Because money's, babe.
It's money.
It's
all about the money, babe.
That's it. And that's why he's a good businessman.
But it still does go back to just because he's never seen them, or he claims or hear them or anything. You got Carl, you got Janet, you got the minister, the two police officers.
Look at this. Look at this, Trista. Say you have a car and the car is colored blue. Someone walks by, they go, "Hey, Trista, that is a special car because that car has never been painted in any other color of blue besides one you have. Yeah. You have a special car. Can I pay you money to see it?" Are you going to say no, even though you don't think that color blue is special? Not really. Money's money.
Yep.
So, duh, he should do it. Just because he doesn't believe that nothing's there and he has droves of people going, "Hey, do you mind if I bring a recorder in here real quick?" For
opportunity at its finest.
Do it. I mean, let's be honest. I've played music for a really long time. I've seen tons of bars and music venues come and go simply because they don't bring in people for one reason or another. This guy's got an inn. He's got ghosts.
Yeah, and it's so well known, so famous now. But I was thinking too, I don't know why this just popped in my head. It's absolutely stupid. But I just pictured the Native Americans when the white man, came and noticed the Grand Canyon.
You said the white man?
Well, yeah.
When the white man came.
Well, you know what I'm saying. So they get there and they're like, "Oh my God, look at this big Grand Canyon. This is amazing. We're gonna sell tickets." And the Indians are like, "The big crack in the earth. Who cares?"
I don't think they said that.
Well, they might have. You don't know.
I think they held it in quite a bit of reverence, hence some of the etchings on the sides of the Grand Canyon. So I think you are just trivializing some actual legitimate beliefs.
Could have happened.
Of our Native American forefathers.
You don't know, Alex.
It's like Alex is Caucasian.
Right.
That's what I just tell people to blend in with all you bunch of white people around here. Anyway, yes. So I'm sorry, we totally interrupted what you were going to do. go ahead, copying on the podcast. We're going to put the call to action this week. Anybody, if you want to share this out so other people can see it, if you want to spread the word, if you invite, I'm going to bring it back down to 10. I'm going to bring it back down to 10.
Bring it back down to 10.
And the reason why is I know we keep saying it, but we are working on some type of incentive system. I do have some things in the work that I'm working on to give it a little more gumption than just shouting you out here on the podcast. Invite 10 people to the group. Invite 10 people to like us, something like that. Give us a heads up on what you're trying to do, and we appreciate it so much. And we're about to try to make that appreciation a little more tangible with maybe some cool items. Again, bear with me. I'm working on it.
We're getting there.
We got some ideas coming down the pike that hopefully you guys will like. I don't know about a shop being set up soon. I'm not even sure if a shop for a podcast this small would be lucrative or enjoyable in any way, but we're thinking about it. We're trying to get it around. So if you thank you, Carlene, for sharing. If you send 10 people our way for the podcast group, get us some likes. We're going to give you a shout out next week. So do you have anything else to add?
I did, but then you caught me off guard.
Sorry.
That quick. Yeah.
Thanks, Trista.
I don't even remember now. That's so funny. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
We loved having all of you guys here and connecting with you. About spilled my green tea. I'd have been so mad.
Yeah. Oh, okay. One last thing I want to do too. Yes, thank you for joining us today, because it's fairly simple too to just hop on the live, but keeping you around and having you interested means a lot to us. And that's what we kind of strive for.
Participating in the discussion.
Most certainly.
That's really the reason why these shows, we're doing these shows live on Facebook and YouTube, is just to have that opportunity to discuss the topics with you guys and get your point of view and see what you think about it, and just to exchange.
Yep. Also, if you have some friends who you think might listen to any kind of talk radio on a normal basis, introduce them to some podcasts.
Yeah.
Give us to them. Give them other ones that we suggest. Give them the ones that you suggest
in this live show.
Show them how to do it. I know podcasting has technically been around for maybe about 10 or 15 years now, but it's really starting to hit big. iHeartRadio even jumped on making
we are on iHeart now.
Yes, we are. We are on iHeartRadio.
We are on are we on Pandora?
I haven't gotten an email back from that yet.
Okay, yeah, we have applied. On iHeart.
We have applied. So if you get the time, like I said, podcasts are really starting to come out to a broader audience now, to be more recognizable as a legitimate form of media. Start taking friends aside, seeing if this would be something beneficial to them, even if it's not us. Show them a platform
in general.
Yeah, show them a platform that you use. I keep up my microphone.
And they're great to listen to, while you're working out. While
you're driving, road trips.
Yeah, while you're driving, things like that.
Anything like that. Get everybody else involved with this podcasting thing. Like I said, if you don't think that they'd enjoy something like us, there is everything out there that you will find something that you can specifically enjoy. So please show them. As for now, I am literally in the red for my tablet's power. I want to personally thank you all for stopping by this week.
Thank you. For
audio listeners, stick around, please, for the Band of the Week. We have the Russells this week. It's going to be sick.
And do us a solid and hit that button in the right-hand corner.
Did you point the right corner? Oh, it's this one. That corner.
Hit that button in the right-hand corner. Yeah. The one that starts with an S.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe.
We'll
see you guys later.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.